Hey there, it's Nate, and welcome to today's edition of Is It Taxable? Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite states, that'd be Vermont. And specifically, we're going to zoom in on SaaS, software as a service. The question today is SaaS taxable in Vermont? Do we need to charge sales tax when we're selling SaaS to customers in Vermont? And if you'd asked me a year ago when I was in Vermont, it was a beautiful resort, played golf, drank a martini, it was great, I would have said no, you don't need to collect tax on software sales. But in 2024, Vermont changed its laws, which happens all of the time. I'm also looking at you, Louisiana. I'm looking at you, Alaska. The laws change all the time. And Vermont changed its sales tax laws in 2024. So if you're selling software in Vermont and you have nexus, which means one of two things in Vermont, either you have physical nexus or you have economic nexus, then you need to collect sales tax and you need to remit it. Physical nexus, that means having an employee or an office in Vermont. Economic nexus, that means doing over $100,000 in sales in Vermont in a year, or, big or here, 200 transactions in Vermont in that year. So if you're a software company, you do one mega deal, like $300K deal, you've got economic nexus in Vermont. Or say you're, a consumer SaaS company doing like low dollar, $10 a month type transactions, but you've done over 200 of them in a year, then yes, you have economic nexus in Vermont, which means you need to collect the right amount of sales tax at a state and local level. State rates in Vermont at this moment are 6%. When you combine state and local rates, that takes us up to 6.36% on average. So whether you're invoicing through a payment processor online, or you're creating invoices in Salesforce, whatever it might be, you need to make sure you have the correct rate. You may need to make sure you collect the right amount of tax, and you need to register for a sales tax permit in Vermont. And then you need to file, and then you need to remit that tax. So staying compliant can be a little tricky in Vermont. If you're looking for help, obviously reach out. At Numeral, this is what we do day in and day out. All things rate calculation, registrations, filing, and remittance. We can definitely help you out. But before I let you go, I just want to say that Vermont is not the only state that taxes software sales. In fact, there are 26 other states, looking at you, Louisiana, which just passed new legislation to tax SaaS. And, my home state of South Carolina, we tax SaaS here. So if you're selling nationwide, your SaaS company's starting to grow, then sales tax is definitely something you want to be thinking about. Because if you get behind the 8 ball, you could end up paying penalties, interest. Last thing you want to deal with is like back taxes due during like an acquisition process that could really derail things. As someone has had some derailing done in an acquisition process. So this is definitely one of those things you want to get out in front of. And, to answer your question, yes, SaaS is taxable in Vermont. Get compliant.